Hello, I'm Vinay Singh, Chief Financial Officer of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
And I'm Ray Oliver Davis, Inspector General for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
November is Fraud Prevention Month, and we'd like to thank you for participating in these important fraud awareness activities during this month and throughout the year. HUD is committed to the highest standards of openness, transparency, and accountability. As stewards of the taxpayers' money, all employees throughout the department have a duty to create and maintain a culture of honesty and integrity. By strengthening collaboration between HUD and the Office of the Inspector General, we can enhance public trust in HUD programs.
Thank you for inviting me here today, and I appreciate the opportunity to promote a culture of fraud prevention. HUD OIG is proud to partner with HUD during Fraud Prevention Month to raise awareness about the damaging effects that fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement have on the integrity of federal programs and the American communities and households that rely on them. Fraud presents a significant risk to all federal government programs, and my office has identified fraud as a top management challenge for HUD. Beyond the monetary loss to taxpayers, reputational damage, and loss of public trust, fraud against HUD programs reduces HUD's ability to meet the critical housing needs of vulnerable communities and populations throughout our nation. Fraud happens, and recognizing this, our goal is to make it as hard as possible for people to defraud HUD's programs, come up with ways to detect fraud as early as possible, and pursue all available remedies against fraudsters so that we can recover lost funds and deter fraud in the future. As an independent oversight agency tasked with protecting HUD's programs and helping HUD succeed in its important mission, we are committed to working with HUD to help prevent and pursue fraud against HUD programs. In fact, we included this as our goal in our own strategic plan, with the goal of assisting HUD in strengthening its internal controls to prevent fraud, waste, and abuse and mismanagement, and enhancing fraud detection efforts and outreach.
HUD and OIG are aligned in promoting integrity, efficiency, and effectiveness of HUD's programs and operations. In our efforts to better manage fraud risks, the department this year put in place for the first time a HUD policy on fraud risk management. This policy puts a standard in place that we have communicated for years. Now in writing, formalized, our policy makes clear that fraud has no place here at HUD. Critically, the new policy lays out the steps we are holding ourselves accountable to in order to detect and prevent fraud. We are committed to supporting the OIG on audits, investigations, and evaluations in its efforts to fight fraud.
Responsible stewardship promotes good government. HUD employees and program participants are in the best position to help us deter and identify potential fraud against HUD programs, and we rely on your help to protect HUD's programs and beneficiaries from fraud. Earlier this year, I was pleased to issue a joint statement of cooperation with Secretary Fudge, in which we shared our partnership in advancing HUD's mission by enhancing the integrity, efficiency, and effectiveness of HUD's programs and operations. In that statement, we noted that all HUD employees have a responsibility to report instances of fraud, waste, and abuse directly to the Office of the Inspector General. My office will maintain employee confidentiality to the extent possible and consistent with our legal obligations. Further, it is against the law and agency policy to retaliate against employees who provide information or report allegations of waste, fraud, and abuse to the Office of the Inspector General. Employees can learn more about their whistleblower rights and protections by visiting our website at www.hudoig.gov. If you are aware of fraud, waste, or abuse in HUD's programs and operations, report it by contacting the HUD OIG hotline at 1-800-347-3735 or visit us at www.hudoig.gov.
Thank you, Inspector General Oliver Davis. We can only advance our essential mission if we all work towards effectively preventing, detecting, and addressing internal and external threats of fraud to our organization. Thank you for your ongoing efforts to safeguard HUD assets and promote and protect our agency's mission.